All right, I wanted to talk about what candidate versus what candidate gets in and what sector will be affected and the initial moves. Come over to ztrades.net, check out the terms and conditions page, read our disclaimer. If you agree to it, you can join our Discord here. If you do not agree to it, do not join the Discord or watch the video. Let's go ahead and jump into it. So we have CL up. Let's just take a look at XOM and see. Now this is different. This isn't crude. But just take a look at this under XOM. We can go over all the energy companies, but we don't have time for that. Let's take a look at the Middle Eastern campaigns. And when we had Bush in, energy ripped. Obama, energy ripped. Trump, energy dropped. It affects inflation in a good way. Long term, I expect energy to drop under Trump's policy. You can't blame COVID for it. This is in the long term. We're going to cover the long term first, then the short term. Then we had Biden in. We went up. There was lots of regulations put in place. Energy, you guys remember at the beginning of the presidency, around 2021, gas had shot up to $7 a gallon. CPI was coming in very hot. They had to do something because they were supposed to be doing deflationary things, but they were doing inflationary things. And inflation was going mad right after a time of extreme money printing, which was just more fuel on the fire. They had to revert back to Trump's policy, energy policy, to get gas prices down. So energy affects inflation on the back end. You don't want to fire money at problems that inflation caused because that is inflationary, right? You don't want to do that. You want to take care of inflation. What are the root causes of it? Take care of those. So in the short term, energy could drop a little bit if Trump gets in, but it's not going to really drop until he's been in for 6 months plus, just like over in here when we had dropped. Let's take a look at FXI could move a little bit, but everyone's so bullish on China, not realizing that these moves that you guys saw are all short-lived. They could do another stimulus and it could pop up again. It's going to go back down, in my opinion. China, with Trump trying to, if Trump gets in, we're going to talk about Trump first. If Trump gets in, he's going to be relieving the American people of the taxes, which helps as like a defense against inflation while we're taking care of that by funding it through tariffs, which he did before. A trade war was horrible to trade. It was horrible trading in that time during the China trade war back when Trump was in office. But I expect China to dip initially. And long term, I expect it to go down. So let's take a look. You could do FXI. It just doesn't move too much. It's a very slow mover. So let's also take a look at, we're going to take a look at defense stocks may get hit because war is not going to, wow, look at Lockheed Martin. That thing just got, when all the war is now coming to an end with elections here, so they're trying to keep things calm and halt any war happening so things can look better leading into elections. But if the left gets in, if Trump gets in, I expect defense stocks to drop. It's the first time not having any new wars in, 20 years, 30 years? So he already has a peace deal made. He's in talks with Zelensky already and Russia with Zelensky, not Russia yet, for when he gets in office, the war ending immediately. This is bad for defense stocks, as well as the Palestine war ending, which would help alleviate tensions between Iran and Israel. So defense stocks will get hit, in my opinion. So let's take a look at, and if Kalama gets in, I expect them to go up. So, because Kalama's already been in under the Biden administration, the people that make the decisions for them, and they sign what comes up. So we've had Kalama in, but her and the Biden administration are the same. It comes off the same tree. We've had Trump in, and there wasn't any wars, and he's already in talks to end the wars. So defense stocks, it's going to be bad. Pharmaceutical companies, if you guys are following, it's a lot to talk about with JFK. They're going to be ending ads. They're going to be going after pharmaceutical companies. Let's pull up what is the ticker. There's an ETF for a lot of the pharma companies, but we'll look that up later. You guys can keep that in mind and do your own research on that. The price gouging for diabetes, Medicaid for insulin, things like that. That's gonna. I think both candidates are gonna hit that. It may be heavier under Trump with JFK under his wing, who's really against the big pharma companies. Right? We have the biggest pharmaceutical. We're a country with where we produce the most. Basically medications. I can't think of the word I'm trying to look for here, and we're one of the most unhealthy countries as in terms of first world countries. On top of JFK, they're going to be moving fluoride from water, seed oils, all this stuff that causes cancer and makes people sick. That's bad for the pharmaceutical industry. Very bad. I expect them to drop somewhat if they get in. You guys remember when Bernie Sanders was running for president, his comments, I mean, it smacked some of the United Healthcare and a bunch of other companies, although he was going to do things a bit differently than what JFK was planning on doing. I also expect American car companies to go. They're talking about all cars being a write-off because you use them to go to work. If it's an American car, Ford may be something to take a look at. So Ford and Tesla may be two stocks to take a look at. Those are both American companies. Let's also take a look at the other sectors. Crypto. Vance VP owns 500K in crypto. JFK, huge component, huge backer in crypto. Barron Trump starting crypto projects, as well as Trump Jr. So Trump was not for crypto. He didn't want anything affecting the dollar, but he made a good statement saying that Bitcoin doesn't endanger the dollar. The U.S. government, the current government, and the people that are part of the same team are affecting the dollar. So they're also talking about adding, I'm paraphrasing here, 200 Bitcoin a day to the Federal Reserve. That is huge to help take care of the debt. Crypto could go parabolic. The dollar, if we take care of inflation under Trump, could go lower because inflation could come under control. And it's going to take a while, 6 to 8 months, in my opinion. But at that point, if inflation starts coming in better, then we'll be able to cut rates faster. If we keep printing money and going to war, and then printing money to put out fires that inflation caused due to bad policy that was inflationary, which is inflationary, the dollar is going to have to remain higher. Crypto isn't going to go as high, in my opinion. If Kalama gets in, she's already in right now with Biden, same administration. We've seen what we get. We've seen what we get under Trump. He's already been in before. Both parties have already been in before, and the administration's backing them. The SEC chairman's going to be fired. They're talking about adding Jamie Dimon if Trump gets in. So there could be a lot of changes made here. And if Americans aren't going to have to pay as much taxes and corporations, corporate tax rate drops 10%, there's going to be a lot more money floating around there, and things could shake and move a lot harder, in my opinion, here. So as far as Kamala getting in, Kamala, I expect EV stocks to hold. Not Chinese EV stocks. I expect China to be able to recover a bit better because there won't be as many tariffs. There won't be any tariffs, in my opinion. And I expect energy to stay where it's at. Now, this can be bad for inflation because CPI is going to come in hotter because energy affects inflation. It's one of the number one. It affects everything. It literally affects everything. Everything we do. Building a home, food, fertilizer for the food, getting the food that's transported through trucks. All goods come through diesel trucks. We need energy lower to fix inflation and no more war. So it's no matter what candidate gets in, we're going to drop. In 2025, we're going to drop, in my opinion. When we drop and if things break and crack fast, I expect the Fed to compress all the interest rate cuts that were supposed to go to 2026 into maybe 3 Fed meetings. There's a leaf blower coming right when I'm doing a video. Get away from my door. I may have to end this video early. If so, I will. We're going to be live tonight in Z Trades watching the elections tonight live. And in the short term, China downside if Trump wins. DJT downside if Trump wins or if he loses. DJT would be the one that's going to move the hardest in my opinion. And if Trump wins, watch Ford and watch Tesla. I expect both of them to go. Ford may have better premiums if someone wanted to gamble. I'm not saying do that with options. So it could be big for American car companies. In crypto, I'm going to hold on that if Trump gets in from what's coming. The dollar, we could have more aggressive rate cuts due to inflation. I've looked at their policy and their ideas and how they're going to try to combat inflation. I'm looking at one side and I'm looking at the other, and I can tell you if it's going to work or not. So I'll know exactly what to do. But initially, on the short term, energy downside long term, crypto long term. I'm talking about 6 to 8 months. Short term DJT, China, if Trump wins. DJT downside if he wins, I know. Those of you that are experienced traders know what I'm talking about. And long term, I think China's going to get smoked. They can do a stimulus package. You're going to get a 1 week pop, and it's going to drop again, especially if Trump's going to be in office. There's going to be a lot of restructuring that needs to happen. If Trump gets in, they're going to be changing the government around a lot. There's going to be a lot shifting. It may be wild right off the bat. But if we can get interest rates lower and inflation under control, that could be that could pull us out of that. And again, we're falling no matter who wins. And whoever wins, when the market falls, they're going to blame it on that candidate. There's been a lot of stuff that's been kicked up the hill, kicking the can up the hill to the next presidency. All presidents do this. They all do it. I'm not bashing Biden administration for that. Everyone does that. So we will see what happens. There's a lot of unrealized bank losses, and we want to see if Kamala gets in, defense stocks could go up. They're going to continue the war, in my opinion. And Lockheed Martin could have a big push with what could happen in the future here going into that presidency. They're going to probably continue to print money to go to war with Ukraine, and then raise tensions with Russia. Middle Eastern conflicts are probably going to continue. So that's just, they've kind of paused everything, supporting all that with elections coming up here. So we've got a gap down here on Lockheed Martin to 480. So we'll keep that in mind. If you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more, and join us tonight for the watch party.